whole bunch of option parts here. This should fix the weakest point on my TRF419. Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. Today we just want to go over these two Tamiya RC vehicles that I have, the TRF419 and the TA07 Pro. Both of these I've set up as race cars. This one's for USGT, this one's for stock sedan 21.5. I recently went on a trip to Kingston, raced both of them. I did okay, but I did break an axle and a bunch of parts on these. So the TA07 is currently missing a front wheel because I actually took the axle out of it and put it in the TRF419. So the TRF419 is currently running an axle that's from this car, so I do want to put it back where it should have been. I actually got a bunch of parts to fix this stuff properly and hopefully make it stronger. A whole bunch of option parts here. Here's the first one that I needed. This is the little collar and pins that hold the axle together on either side. I showed them, if you watch my Kingston race vlog, I show these parts are missing on my axle, so I got the TRF parts to fix them. So that's good. Then I've got a bunch of spare parts. So I got a bunch of spare front knuckles in plastic, more spare front knuckles in plastic, more spare front knuckles in plastic. RC Mart gave me a free Velcro. And then, because these cars are known for breaking their C-blocks all the time on the very front, I decided, I don't know, well, I bought these because they were on sale, but I decided I would buy all the parts to strengthen up the front end. So these are metal. These are metal C-blocks, metal knuckles with the little standoffs that you need for putting the parts through. I got enough to do both cars. So they're going to have black anodized metal knuckles and C-hubs on both the TRF419 and the TA07. Hopefully, when I hit the wall, I'll stop breaking them. You run the risk of then bending and having your setup go out of whack, but to me it's better than knocking you out of the race completely. If you go to rcjazz.com, I believe this is their house brand parts that they've made for these Tamiya cars. So it wasn't obscenely expensive, but it was enough that I had to really think about it for a while to decide, is it worth it? Anyway, so I'm going to put all these parts on, and really it shouldn't change the handling all that much, it's just going to make them stronger. The other change I'm making to these on-road cars is radios. So if you look at the setup on the TA07, it's pretty messy with wiring, but this receiver is Traxxas. And I really want to stop racing the Traxxas radios. So I'm mostly doing it just because I've got so many of them, these receivers kicking around, that I can pair them with one Traxxas remote. I do like the Traxxas remotes for that. They are good. They're just not race spec. This has about a 13 millisecond lag time, versus the Sandwall that I'm currently racing with right now has a 4 millisecond lag time. That 10 millisecond difference approximately between them is noticeable. So it is something where I did want to get all my racing cars on a higher end protocol. So I did get a bunch of extra Sandwall third-party receivers. I ordered these from, I believe, AliExpress, and I'll put a link in the description to where I got these. So these are antennaless Sandwall supported receivers. They're called ARX482Rs, and they have FH4T protocol with telemetry, 4-channel with telemetry. Excellent, really good receivers. So I'm going to swap those over, get them programmed onto my Sandwall radio. So I've got some work to do ahead of me. I'm going to do these changes. So to put this axle back together, I do need to align a couple of parts. So we've got to get this sleeve into here. Seems easier to do it when it's on the ground. Okay, then get your pin through and into position, and then you've got to put this little locking ring on. And the orientation of this matters. So you want to put it in where the direction of rotation is not going to spread the little hook. And then what this little clip does is it stops the pin from falling out, but it seems like it's going to be a real bit of a pain to get it in. There, sweet, got it on. There, got it on. Double, what the heck is this called? Double cardan joint shaft. It's to stop vibrations and to free up the movement, but I think it's a little bit overly complex in my opinion. When you buy the metal knuckles, you get a really good hardware package with it actually. You get all the ball studs, you get the screws for the kingpins and the kingpin sleeves. And on the C-hubs, just get 4 kingpin sleeves and then 2 grub screws for holding the hinge pin in place, and you do not get a new hinge pin. So I'm just finishing the install of the metal knuckle and C-hub, and so you've got the ball stud, long ball stud, which goes through a hinge pin sleeve on the top side, and on the bottom side you've got the hinge pin sleeve and a flathead screw, and that's how this whole piece goes together. Just make sure that it pivots freely and nicely, and it's got the C-hubs are labeled front and left. This one's the left, and it does have the cutout so you can slip the axle through it after it's built. So now that I've got my repaired double cardan joint axle, I can just take this, pop this through the C-hub into the knuckle, and it does pop the bearing out, but it does fit through. Some of the older C-hub designs didn't allow you to get the axle pushed through, so this is nice. Makes for repairability easier, and this should be way stronger. This should fix the weakest point on my TRF419 and my TA07. So I have chosen to go with aftermarket metal C-hub and knuckles. Now the TRF420 just came out. It did improve these parts a lot, where you've got a much beefier knuckle and C-hub, but in order to use those you have to change your arms, your hinge pins, your blocks. Everything's changed. They are making an upgrade kit for the TRF419 where I can get TRF420 parts for this. I may do that in the future, but for now I've already bought this, and this should strengthen the weakest part on the car, so we're going to go with that for now. I've got the new receiver hooked up into the TA07, the ARX482, so I'm going to hit the bind button here in a second. But before I do, when you're programming it on your controller, you want to be on Sanwa 4HT mode, and then for steering and throttle, instead of normal mode, because normal mode is going to be around 10 milliseconds, whoops, you don't want to be on normal mode, you want to be on SHR for super high response or Sanwa high response. So I'm going to do that for the two, then I'm going to go over here to bind. In a second I have to hook up power, and then I would hold up bind, hit bind, and it will pair in super high response mode, and that's how you get the ultra fast radio frequency. That's how you do it on Sanwa. On Futaba and some other brands it's a little bit different, but that's how you do it. Okay guys, at this point all the on-road cars are ready to race. I did put in the Sanwa compatible receiver. I got it bound up. When you do that, you do have to adjust your steering trim, your steering endpoints, reset your all your throttle calibration. So you have to go into your ESC settings, and then you redo the calibration of throttle endpoints. So you do your neutral, full throttle, full brake. You have to do all that. So that's ready to go and confirmed working. The TRF419, I have the metal knuckles and C-hubs in, so that's ready to go. And I've repaired the front axle. And on the TA07, I just put the plastics back in, because at this point now I've got a lot of plastic parts left over, so I'm going to run this on plastic for a little bit longer. I want to compare them directly to the metal front end versus the plastic, and also I put a Sanwa receiver in this. So they're all on Sanwa, all set for the 4 millisecond super fast response mode for racing. That's enough for this video. We're going to end it here. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.